10, right? It's 10 East.
Yeah, 10:08. Yeah.
Hey, all right, look, man, listen. Eric, all right, look, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. All right, we just started the broadcast, and I'm just gonna say something honest to God, to the camera. Look, I wish I had a better intro. I want to come on to like a really dope, well-produced introduction. Like this show I watched called Multiverse has the dopest graphics. You know what I'm saying? And I just can't seem to land them type of graphics. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and just do what we do anyway, man. And today we're going to go ahead and talk about what's going on in the Blurred Sphere as we do on a weekly basis. Good morning. It is the new Blurred Order. We're going to get right into it. Forget all the intros. I'm ready to just get on into it. What's up, Yvette?
Hey, guys. I love the new Blurred Order. You should, too.
Whoa.
All right, I'm gonna keep it real. Yes, we started a little late. Yes, I'm sorry. My microphone ain't working as well. Yes, I'm gonna talk a lot as I usually do, but we definitely have so much to talk about today that we want to go ahead and speed through it. I obviously, once again, your boy, the real Biz Taylor, and we are joined with none other than the one and only Tyrone is in the building. We've got Yazzie here, what's popping. We've got Nolly in the building. We've got Steph, most Steph. Oh, yes, man. And the one and only Coralus from the House of the Dragons, the sea snake himself. Just glad what's going on. And yeah, man, look, I'm just gonna keep it real, man. There's a lot going on. We really want to go ahead and just talk about the remainder of the spoiler. We're not going to spoil anything right this moment. All right, not this moment. But we definitely want to, since it's been a couple weeks, if you ain't seen the Black Panther movie yet, what are you waiting for? You literally have had ample time to do so. And right now, if anything, the charts, the box office is telling you that you are missing out. We have seen multiple weeks of success with the Black Panther franchise, almost to the point where The Rock had to comment on it. Let's just look, because we're killing. I'm saying we, like, like, like we're all a part of this project.
We
right?
did
it. We did it. You know what I'm saying? What we did, we took to the theaters, and yes, we are killing it. Listen, as this says, it was previewed on the 26th and was released worldwide on 11. 84 million in its opening, and now earning. This is from a couple of days ago. 404 million world, 400.4 million worldwide. And let's compare that to the Black Adam debut, which was about 17 million less, and is still not been able to reach in there. And Black Adam was out 2 or 3 weeks earlier than the Black Panther movie, which means that they had no excuse for not necessarily making numbers. Not necessarily that it also is a competition, but it kind of is, But The Rock was gracious, and he basically said, "Look, it's a good thing for everybody when people go to the movies." What a political answer! I'm sure he's going to run for president, as there are presidential announcements this week as well. But before we get into discussing more of Black Panther and more that we should that we can actually cover, now that all of us have seen Black Panther, because when we first went, we hadn't all seen it yet. And I just want to know what's going on in this picture. Like, who are they grocery shopping at the movie? Nolly went with a shopping cart to the AMC theater.
Right. Okay. Hold up. So my boyfriend is a palm-colored man. Okay. And so because I didn't get to see it on opening night, I said, "Oh, look, babe, they got 2 cups." And then I look over and I was like, he goes, "Do you want a popcorn bucket too?" And I said, "Yes, because it's reparations." And so I picked my popcorn bucket. I got my little cups, and I was a happy camper.
She still got
Nice.
That's a big deal, because Steph, you got the big popcorn too. They had the big popcorn bucket at your premiere. They didn't have it at mine. I think
mine either.
We didn't.
Yeah, mine either. I was pissed. I was like, y'all suck. I was like, what's wrong with this place? It was really bad.
This is racism.
Literally. It's like, we have the normal one. I want that shit. Yeah.
Yo, man, yo, okay. Well, before we get into breaking down some of the things that happened and some of the stuff we didn't get a chance to get to last week, just because Nolly didn't get a chance to comment on the movie itself, now that you've seen it, just let us know if you loved it, if you hated it. No spoilers yet. Let's just talk about how you felt about the movie, man. I could tell you hated it. Just look at your face, man. You look like horrified.
So, I actually I pulled up to the movie high because I know my ass, like I was going through it that week and I was like, I'm gonna be sobbing. And so if I'm high, I'll be paranoid that everyone will hear me and I won't cry as much. And so I was sitting there and I was like, like the whole time.
Okay, all right.
It was so good.
It was so good. Oh my God. Yeah, you know, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. There was it was well deserved tear jerking moments. It's not like This Is Us where they're trying to force you to cry. You know what I'm saying?
Give me your tears.
You know what I'm saying? Not like that. So we'll talk all about some of the things that we didn't get a chance to get to last week with Black Panther. But before we did that, I would like to go down the road with some actual headlines. And I wanted to get y'all opinions on some of these headlines before we get back into the Black Panther 2 spin of things and talk about talk about some of the things that went on in the Black Panther movie. So, as you all know, we're all geeks, we all nerds, and some of the things that we've learned this week and last week because we were doing Black Panther have been quite astounding. I think it was Nolly or somebody. Ty Lean just dropped a bombshell for those of y'all out there that are in anime and that are into the world of Aang and The Last Airbender. Looks like they are officially recruiting the young lady from Prey to play as Princess Yui in Last Airbender. But I gotta say, man, I don't see this working out for the. If you think Star Wars fans are evil and hate everything, wait till you meet anime fans. I think that she'll do a great job. Let me just say that. But anime fans will never be satisfied with a live action production of any anime series, Yaz. That's just the way I feel about it. I don't think that there's any anime other than Koko Kenshin. What was it? Yeah. Other than that, they seem to just hate everything, Yaz.
Nah,
you seem excited about it.
Fist of the North Star was really good. That was live action. Yeah, there was a live action Fist of the North Star movie. Yeah.
Man, I missed that one.
I mean, it's old, but it was good.
Okay.
If you get a chance to watch it.
All right. Well, real quick, not to spend too much time. Is this a great announcement? Let's start with Yaz. Yaz, are we excited about this? Is this going to make a difference, or are anime heads still going to hate it?
I mean, I'm excited about it. I still watch Avatar and Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra on my free time, my downtime when I have nothing to watch. So, and I didn't not like the live action that they did at the the first one they did. I didn't have any quarrels with it. I mean, yes, it could have been better in some aspects of it, but I mean, it wasn't as bad as everyone made it seem it to be. If you go back and watch the movie, I mean, they kind of did a way better job than Mortal Kombat did with a lot of their scenes.
Yeah.
With the bending and shit like that, it was really realistic and kind of dope, actually. So I don't know. I mean, if we can take that and kind of grow from it, I think this will be, along with the cast, if they make the cast really strong, which she obviously is a fucking badass character, you know what I'm saying? And we know that she can move and kick ass. So I think her casting should have maybe been Katara or something like that, just because of we know more of her, just her ability and range. Princess Yui doesn't really do too much action inside of, the shows and stuff like that and in the anime. So I know I'm kind of excited to see who they do cast as, the main characters and where it's going to go from there. I don't know. I'm still excited for this. So we'll see.
Okay. Anybody else excited? Anybody else got any feelings? Or we're going to move right on because I got something to talk about.
I agree with Yaz. I didn't think it was as bad. I mean, I just saw somebody in the comment section and his complaint was they didn't even, what did he say? They changed how Firebend was. If that's going to be the critiques, if that's going to be the type of critiques that people have, then yes, you're probably right. That you're never going to be able to get it right if you're critiquing how they've been fired. But I mean, I thought they did a really good job of representing Aang I think Aang looked almost like you would want him to look.
I thought so.
Tattoos,
white.
No, he was
white.
No,
he wasn't
a
white.
white
He
kid,
wasn't white.
right?
He was like, I don't know. He was like
Aang wasn't white.
Like, yeah, he looked like Samoan or something like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he had some.
He looked like
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I thought they did a really good job of the way he looked. Now, as far as like writing and everything like that, I mean, you get better writers in there. You get better,
Listen, one thing I've learned, bro, is that you're not gonna win a war with the Avatar heads, bro. Like me and Tyleen, from day one, we was like, look, I didn't think it was that bad.
I agree.
Yeah, that's it.
Everybody, they're like, what? How dare you? Like, yo, M. Night Shyamalan, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't that mad at it, you know what I'm saying? But then again, I'm not the hugest Last Airbenders fan, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like a light fan, I'll catch it when I can, but not like I set my DVR to it.
I'm not going to die on that bridge.
I'm with Thomas. I'm with Thomas Evans on this one. I just for the record, I think that they failed.
You look like failed. Okay. Well, all right. Look, that's a whole other topic. Let's see one of the main reasons I'm a little excited about this announcement is because it leads to the potential for a live action Korra series, and I really want to see a Korra series. If that comes out, I don't think that now there's no bad movie of Korra to be upset at this moment, and plus Korra only had a one series release as a one season release as of this point. If I'm not mistaken, she only had one series on her show as of this point right now. So there's plenty of room to grow. We can do things that they haven't done in the series yet, but that's a whole other subject. We're looking forward to that. But I also want to get y'all opinion on some of these other things that are happening right now. Like I'm extremely excited about the announcement, which we've had on doc for a while, but we couldn't talk about it because we were Black Panther friends, and we still are. But it is official. Ty Leem is getting his own show on HBO Max.
That's my daddy, man. That's my daddy.
So you'd have to dye your hair or something, dog, because I mean you got the wrong color, the right, style.
I'm the original. Color. I'm one of the originals. I stick to the black. Daddy went that way because he married one of them Targaryens.
Okay.
Nah, they're gonna be calling you all kinds of. They're gonna be calling you all kinds of B words in Dragonstone.
Yo, just wait. I'm so excited about this, man, because this gives us the potential to have an actual. I doubt it's an all black cast, but a majority black cast that we can see on the screen represented in this time frame. And actually, the New Blurred Order has been given some exclusive footage of what this is going to look like. Here to give you an exclusive look at what the new House of the Dragon spinoff with Corliss is. Let's go ahead and drop this right now. Let's see if we can get it.
I'm mad that he stole my review of that show and just said yuck. That was my whole review of that damn show.
Yuck.
That was with Tyrone.
Spot on, Tyrone.
They were watching both of them.
Yeah.
But yo, I mean, all right. Obviously, that was a skit on last week's Saturday Night Live, and honestly, I think it's a hilarious skit. I love the fact that Dave Chappelle loves House of the Dragon. I mean, we could argue the merits over whether or not he's has issues, and whether or not his monologue was anti-Semitic and all that. But that's a topic for another day. Right now, I just want to get y'all's sentiments on what we should expect. Ty, let's go with you first. From the Sea Snake, are we looking to a Black Panther type casting where we have all black with white-haired cast members in a city of all black members, where we can finally see folks that look like us flourish in the time period that they're projected, that they're showing her? Or is it just going to be a love story between him and the Targaryens?
I'm leaning more to the side of it's probably going to be a love story between him and the Targaryen. I don't see. I mean, just based on what I saw in House of the Dragon, I don't see them leaning heavily into the all black cast. It would be nice, but I don't even see it getting the same type of response as a Black Panther because y'all at some point y'all lost and you gave in. So however you want to look at it, we didn't come out on top. So I don't really see how it would be like, it's gonna be yeah. I'm gonna stick to that one. I'm gonna stick to that side of it.
What you think, Steph? Did you? I don't remember if you even suffered through the House of. I know you did suffer through it with us a little bit, but do you think we can look forward to this as a people, a show that'll show us represented in this time? Steph, what's your thoughts, Steph? Please don't hold back, please.
I mean, I love to see Black people. I love to see diversity, but the world of George R. Martin does not interest me at all. I want to go where I'm wanted, and I don't feel wanted there, so it's not my thing.
Okay, all right. What about you, Nolly? You feel the same way?
I don't know. I hope they do it good. At least we know there won't be like incest every episode.
Do we know that?
There's that.
I was being hopeful. This is not a Targaryen, so he just married one. So I'm hoping that we get like some good battles and that we can actually see.
All right. Tyrone, what you think, boy? And then we'll move on. We'll move on to some other things. We definitely want to get some more Black Panther stuff before Steph goes.
Oh yeah, I have no expectation this show will be anything but a mess. And for the reasons that Steph brought up, I mean, it's George R. Martin. I have zero faith that it'll. I hope that we all are agreeing. I'm looking forward to making fun of the show with y'all, with everybody else who's watching, because it's gonna be and I'll eat crow if I have to, but it's gonna be bad. I want it to be good. I wish that we could get a good show based around Game of Thrones. I don't think this is gonna be it.
Man, all right.
I think it'd be cool to see old Valyria though, and what I'm saying, like how it, what I'm saying, like how it was, and then how it kind of crumbled, and then it became, what I'm saying, House of the Dragon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, theoretically,
that will be
cool.
like super, super interesting and cool. But
if I can keep it real, as much as I'm excited about seeing Black faces on the screen, and I slightly disagree with Steph on this. I do think that George, I don't know if it's George R. Martin or the casting crew or whatever, but I think that there was an admission that they dropped the ball in the original Game of Thrones series as it pertained to representation. I think that they're trying to make up for that by throwing more Black faces at us, and I'm not mad at that. It's okay. If you recognize that you made a mistake and look to correct it. As to how we're depicted and how well we fare on screen, I'm eager to. But the one thing that I hope is that we still get a dragon show. I want to see more dragons. If there's dragons in the show, I think that despite Tyrone's lust for its failure, I think that it'll still be successful. I think that it'll still get a lot of notoriety. But will it be well done? Will it be something that we watch? Will there be incestual situations? I don't know. But I want to see my man's origin story. I want to see when he turned thugged out. I want to see when he strengthened his first. I want to see when he had short dreads before they came down. He was just an angry little dude walking around with his pants sagging. You know what I'm saying? Listening to crisscross on his Walkman. I want to see how he came up. You know what I'm saying? So that's.
He's like Aemon. He's a second brother. He just has that animosity, that he should be, like the king, or he should be, I'm saying, like the first brother. You know what I mean? But he's always been passed up, So yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting, to see that play out.
That's what I'm here for, man. I'm here for that, man. So that's another headline. Go ahead.
I think that they'd missed an opportunity with the Valerians. Like, how are you going to be people like that are all about the ocean and stuff, and you don't wear waves on your head? Like, you got to do waves. Like, obviously, y'all missed a whole opportunity there. We could have had people just with some sick ass white waves and stuff. I'm just saying, like, they missed an opportunity. That's why you have to have Black writers.
Oh my God.
Tyrone brings up a good point, and my thing is, we watched the entire House of the Dragon series, and we never saw them in a ship. we never saw them in a ship.
They were there already. You're right. Yeah.
Like you got like they talked about it. We have the most ships, the fleet of ships. We never saw you in a ship.
And they'd be like, trust me.
Like even when they said Corlys was in a battle and he got mortally wounded, and we don't know if he'll make it. We didn't see him in a ship then. It's like, damn, the only time we saw a ship and a Valerian in it was when the son Lenor was rowing a boat out to a ship.
With his man.
About it. That was it. That was the gist.
All right, yeah, you might be right about that. Well, I don't know. I have hope that this will be a good production, and I'm always going to root for more black faces on screens, especially for a franchise, despite our hatred for a lot of the content. A franchise as big as the Game of Thrones franchise, I think representation matters. And speaking of which, before I get into, like, there are so many, like, just things that I just want to get y'all opinion on. So as you all know, let's talk a little bit about Black Panther, because unfortunately Steph's so busy, like she's grading papers as we speak. Like you look over. So let's talk a little Black Panther. So real quick, guys. All right, as you know, our new homie Nolly just saw the movie. Couple of spoilers here. If you haven't seen the movie, you should have. That's all I'm gonna say. You should have seen it. So just to kind of drop a couple things. So as the header says, we're expecting some new characters in our upcoming Black Panthers, one of which is our new T'Challa, who was introduced in our most recent movie. Now, here's the question I have. T'Challa, as we discussed last week, the new one, Toussaint, from Port-au-Prince or wherever it is. Am I still here? Okay, cool.
We got you.
Was born of Nakia, but that still leaves room for Storm. Storm can still come in. We don't know what T'Challa was doing. T'Challa might have had a little side, So the potential for another Storm to come onto the screen is still highly prominent. And somebody that we know from one of our shows, one of our favorite shows, is lobbying for the role of Storm. And that is none other than Miss Diop, who is known for Starfire fame. I want to know how y'all feel. I want to go directly to Steph real quick, as we don't have Steph for the whole show today, unfortunately. But Steph, you've suffered through these episodes of Titans with us. You've seen their depiction of Starfire. This young lady is basically saying out front, look, I'm down to play Storm. And I want to know, do you think she fits the bill, or would you pass on that?
I don't like it. Hard pass. She is tainted by the DC universe. She's out of consideration for me. She does loyalty to the family, so no.
Wow. She wants a blood oath. Steph is like, nah, I'm cool. What about y'all? Tylene, what you think, man? Do you think Miss Starfire?
Absolutely not. I'll save you your breath. No, absolutely no. I have put my vote in for Storm. I have told you who I think Storm should be, and I'm not bending, breaking, not no leverage there. The person that I said is the best candidate. She is of African origin. She is absolutely beautiful, and she can act her behind off. And listen, if you're a goddess and your power is you suck people up in your vagina, you get my you get my listen. And I know for context, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, there was a show called American Gods. What was her name, Vince?
Queen, Bilquis
or something like that.
Yeah.
But she is an amazing actor as far as that show. I haven't seen her in anything else. But just looking at her, she epitomizes Storm. Tell me that does not look like all she needs is the white hair. That's all she needs.
I'm glad you gave extra context, because for a second I thought you were about to cast the XXX-Men.
Ooh.
Good with that.
Hey, the Triple X-Men. I'm here for the Triple X-Men, man. You know what I'm saying? With genitals on their knees and shit, like in Star Trek. All right. Well, Bilquis, she seems cool. I mean, there's a whole bunch of folks that would probably be up against that casting wall. Jesus, it's 35 degrees. Anyway. I don't know, man. I guess this is Yaz. What do you think? I mean, I know you don't typically like to get into the Storm debate. She typically she stays back, but would you be so opposed to seeing Coriander as a Storm?
I mean, they could do worse than Coriander for sure.
True.
So, you know what I mean? Like that's what it narrows down to, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, at least we have seen her in action, and we know as acting goes, she's not that bad action wise. You know, she can kick some ass. She does have the attitude, the flair, you know what I'm saying? And the bitch can walk in some high ass heels. So, you know what I mean? We know
Right.
all of this. You know what I'm saying? Like I was literally watching Titans this morning. Like, how the fuck is she kicking people's ass in these like 8-inch heels, stilettos?
Right.
You know, like this is crazy. So I don't know. It just, I like I said, they could do worse. But if it was her ultimately, I guess I wouldn't be so mad until I saw it. But she definitely needs a little bit of work to be on Marvel's casting for sure. I mean, she's gorgeous, and you know she's got the potential, but she needs a little bit extra of a push if she's going to be on the MCU.
Yeah. What do you think, Tylene? I mean, sorry, Tyrone. I don't know. Y'all all look like
yeah, all you. Yeah, I honestly, I wouldn't be, like. I don't know if Titans, or if her, the Titan situation is her fault. You know what I mean? I wonder if with a different director, with a different script, with a different situation around her, if she would rise to that. If she would show up better. I wouldn't be mad at it if they chose, like, if Marvel said, okay, this is going to be our Storm. I'd be like, okay, they obviously see something that we didn't see in Titans.
Right.
But I would definitely, she wouldn't be my first choice, but not because of anything. I don't think she lacks anything necessarily. I just don't know if she has it for sure.
Okay. All right. What about you, Nolly? Any opinion? Any thoughts?
I'm with the majority. I mean, like, they could do worse. It wouldn't be terrible, but I feel like there are better options. But like, if it came down to it, it could probably work. I mean, it's Marvel. It's not like Titans had the best. Like, they had her all messed up the first season. Hair, makeup did not do her justice. Writing, it was hit or miss. So, I mean, Marvel tends to give us better when it comes to these things. So it might work, but I probably would cast someone else.
Man, all right. I guess I'm the only one on here who's like, I'm not mad at it. I think look, the DC crossover thing is not a thing for me. I mean, we just watched Christian Bale play the God Killer, the God whatever,
or the God Butcher.
The God Butcher. We've got the whole thing with James Gunn going back and forth, and it sounds like we may even be getting more DC characters from their universe. I still think that eventually you're going to see Jason Momoa with in a Marvel chair. So I think that the DC crossover thing doesn't anger me as much. I just don't know if it's best to go with somebody. I think that right now, what Ty was saying about having African descent for real, with the way that we're talking about representation, I think that they might want to consider that as well. I think that, however, though, in terms of casting, I don't mind her image. I like the dark. Look. Yeah. I like the dark complexion. I like the she fits on paper, on a photograph. She has the image of what a Storm would look like, from my opinion. I think that if they're going to cast somebody, I would not mind someone who looked like her to be cast as Storm. Whether it's her or not, we don't know. You know what I'm saying? So we'll talk about that. That's a whole other thing. Now, I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm trying to get through these headlines because I want to get y'all opinion on it, and then I want to definitely get on to the last few things we talked about of Black Panther. Then even talk about maybe Let the Right One In, Peripheral, Andor, of course, because we haven't been talking about that. But I have some weird, quirky. I want to get y'all opinion on this, which I think is kind of silly, but it's not. So one of the Avengers is dating right now, and there was a little bit of controversy about his announcement of it. Your boy America's ass is getting some ass, and he's happy about it. Like, he's jumping on couches. He's proclaimed, I think about a week ago, that he's in a serious relationship with Alba Batista. Alba Batista, who some of you all know, I know Ty knows her. She is the star of a show that we're watching right now called Warrior Nun, which we may talk about a little later. But so the man's happy. He's about to, it looks like he's been in a relationship. Here's the controversy. He's 41. She's 25. And for some strange, I don't want to say for some strange, but for reasons, there are members of the public who feel that this is inappropriate, or maybe that he could have just done better, or I don't know. But I'm curious, especially for our esteemed young ladies on the cast. We'll start with America's Ass's biggest fan, Yaz. Do you think that Chris Evans is doing too much? Is this wrong? Should this be a controversy, or is he actually just let me not put words in your mouth. What do you think about this whole situation?
I just feel like people should love who they love. Like, age is a number, and I mean, Chris Evans still is very young looking. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I think it's more of like the women who are in his age range, or like that kind of thing, that are upset, or saying like the men that are upset that like he has the ability to go younger. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really not his fault. You know what I mean? It's just, you like who you like. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like she's of the age of consent. So what the fuck is the point? It's not like she's 16 years old and he's freaking like, 25, 30 years old. She's a grown up. She's 25 years old. You know what I mean? Who cares who she loves? Like what's all the hate about? If it was the other way around, and she was, you know what I'm saying? Like she was the one who was in Chris Evans, like the age difference was different. Would we really give a fuck? No. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not that serious. So I feel like it's just, people are just salty because she's 25 and she looks really young. Like I'm turning 30 and I still get carded to go buy fucking lighters. You know what I'm saying? So I get where, people get upset because she looks, like a younger kid, and to see them together, it's kind of like, oh, is that dad and daughter? And then like they're kissing. So I see where people can get a little bit, upset about that. But in the same point of range, like it's not your household. So why should you give a fuck? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let the man love who he wants.
What Nolly, same way, or any different opinions? Is the world being too critical?
I think people need to mind their business. Number one. Plus, they're adults. It's like y'all said, if it was she was 15, 16, and he was late 20s, 30s, then I'd be like, my guy, pause. Like, you don't have to pick up the kids from the daycare. You could like go to a bar and pick up someone who's of age. Like, just mind your business. He's happy. He's getting some. They're of age. Move on, please. There are other things going on in the world.
Right. Steph, no, it's not pre-recorded. Ravi, G-Bomb, Bob, we talking shit about you right now, homeboy. Everybody waving. Everybody give the finger to right now.
Hey, we're not pre-recorded.
We're live as fuck, homeboy. Hit the word live at the top of the screen. So yeah, thank you, and hit that get notifications and get reminders, and make sure you follow and come back every single week.
Thanks for hanging out.
Stephanie, what say you on this? I mean, I know it's a non-issue, but I'm just curious because if you go through the comment section on this dude's posts, like they're like, "Come on, man, you could do better. Why are you? She's too young." You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on?
I'm not invested. I really don't care what this man does, but I will say, if M'Baku was dating a 25-year-old, I would have words. I would have words and thoughts. So I don't care, mainly just because I don't care about Captain America.
I got you. Okay. I feel, well, I mean, I'm inclined to ask the guys, but frankly, I think I'm going to assume that we're all okay with it because, look, man, men are less mature than women. Let's just keep it real. That's been something that we've known from a long time. Like, women mature faster than men. And so it's always been kind of in the back of my head that like women at a younger age ending up with a man at an older age isn't that uncommon. I think that for this particular instance, Chris Evans was 2 years outside of what, if it was 39 and 25, people were like, all right, no, but 41, whoa, you know what I'm saying? So bad Ty. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tyrone.
Oh no, I'll wait until it's my turn because I do have an opinion.
No, actually, I was just about to go to one of the ties, and
Okay.
you're one.
Okay, great. As one of the ties, I want to just
Be a good tie.
no. I think so. I think this is a big conversation. There are questions to be asked, like what, as a 41-year-old, how much do you have in common with a 25-year-old? You know, the whole like women mature faster than men thing. That's cool, like when you're 13, but like when you're 40 something, like, you know, it's different. So I don't have he's not doing anything wrong, but I do think that there are questions to be asked. Is like, why do we see this so much? Like, is there something about the way, you know, men are treated in society that like allows this and kind of encourages this? There are questions there to be asked, and there's conversations to be had.
Right.
I think that it's you know, just personally for me, I don't think I could date somebody with that much of an age range between us, just because like what do we talk about? What do we like? We lived in completely different worlds almost. You know what I mean? We grew up in almost different worlds, so it's, you know, that's just a personal thing, you know, for me. But you know, he's not doing anything wrong.
Right. I think. Yeah, I think for some, it's not even the wrong factor; it's the wrong image factor. Like it feels creepy because in this day and age of like, it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's a 16-year age gap. All right.
Yeah.
And let's also be clear. If I'm not mistaken, Cher, who's like 112 years old,
I was gonna say that.
just came out. She just came out with what's his name, son? With who is it? I forget his name.
It's a big gap.
Yeah, huge, and people are celebrating. Girl, you better do you. I know that's right.
Yeah, no, I have the same opinion on that shit. Yeah.
Can I interject real quick?
Please.
Okay, so from a woman's standpoint, all right, just because like I have, you know, friends and I've seen it firsthand from just, you know, family members and different stuff like that. But you gotta think of it. At a certain age, I'm not like man shaming here. Okay, so let's just get that out. At a certain age, you guys lose, you know, like your excitement and your, you know, like the spontaneousness. And for some women, you know what I'm saying, that's what all of the passion in the relationship is about. You know what I'm saying? So for them to go from, you know, being married and having kids and, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, like moving on and divorced or whatever, they just want to have fun. They just want to, like, you know, live life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't live life with someone who's your same age. You know what I mean? You're going to have to go younger. And it's not that they don't have things to talk about. There's many things to talk about with a 20-something-year-old, especially if like you guys are like have similar interests. You know what I'm saying? Like you could meet somebody at like a nerd convention and you know what I'm saying? Like just there's different things, you know what I'm saying? And there's like different ways to connect with somebody that's not through age. You know what I mean? So I know some people have old souls and some people have young souls. So it's just like I said, like it's all on like you can't help who you love. You can't help who you're attracted to. You know what I'm saying? Like opposites attract. It's the same thing.
Right.
Like age doesn't really have that kind of like, it's not the first thing at the top of your mind where you're like, oh, we're this far apart. We're 16 years of, you know, like a decade apart. You know, it's awkward. So you know what I'm saying? Like it's just, I don't know. It's not something that comes up unless someone brings it to the attention. You see what I'm saying? Like it's not something that's just like, oh, we're this far apart. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless someone brings it to that, like, you know, that next level of like bringing it out and like open, it's not something that's just like, oh, okay, like we're different age. Unless it's, you know, like, oh, I got to go get my AARP like renewed or something like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not something a 20-year-old is going to have to, you know what I'm saying? Or I got to go get a mammogram or something. It's not something a 20-year-old is going to have to worry about. You know what I'm saying? And it's a learning thing too. They can teach and mend them how they want them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. It's an excitement thing. So I don't know.
Yuck.
Oh, what's up, Ty? Come on, please.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say what everybody else hasn't said. It sounds like how long have they been dating? Just for context?
About a year.
Yeah, about a year. It sounds like he's having the best sex he's ever had in his life. I'm just putting it out there. He's probably, with a 25-year-old girl, yes, you have points, but if she's 25, that means she's probably vibrant, probably has a lot of energy.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, and that probably translates well into the bedroom.
And experimental, like, you know what I'm saying? You're wanting to learn things and like wanting to try things, you know?
Maybe she's teaching, maybe she's not learning, maybe she's teaching him.
That's what I'm saying. He's younger.
The thing about it is what I've come across as far as younger people is they are more driven at younger ages by sex. You know, you do have those that are driven, some that are driven by their careers, but mostly, I would say that most of them are probably more sexually driven, in relationships, and then everything else kind of, you know, unfolds as depending on how good the sex is. So no, it's just, I mean,
No, you're not wrong.
the thing. So I think he probably met her. They probably both were attracted to each other. I mean, he is America's ass. So I mean, she probably is infatuated with him, just like a lot of young women are. And you know, it turned into what it turned into. And then as it progressed, he was like, well, she's not, you know, she's not a bad girl. Like we have a couple of things in common, and I can build off those couple of things because the sex is great. And you know, like, I mean, women typically post stuff about their relationships and how excited they are. If a man is going out there and he's making a post and he's saying, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life, that is a post to tell all the other men, stay away from her. This is for real. This is not for women. This is for men. This is like, look, this 20-year-old has rocked my world, and I've never been rocked like this before. Yeah, this is real. That's what I believe.
I have a different take on this. Look, as a married man, Chris has said that he's been in this relationship for a year, right? And what I'm hearing, I'm reading some undertones, because he probably wants to go out in public. She's probably like, why don't you take me to the awards? And he's like, you know, all right, you know, with time and all of that. And then finally, he may have been like, look, all right, man, look, if I'm going to come out and at least let everybody know that this is real. This is not some fling. I want you to know how important you are to me. And unfortunately, because of the age gap, which I don't think, again, I think that the number 4 in front of the 1 is what really makes this worse. If she was 23 and he was 39, I don't even think we'd be having this conversation. I think that the fact that a 20 and a 40 something is, I honestly, now I could be completely wrong, but it feels like, you know, there's a hint, and I know I'm gonna get myself in trouble for this. And I'm probably gonna lose all of y'all with this. All right, I was scared to say it.
I'm listening.
There's a hint of ageism and sexism here, all right, from my opinion. Because like I said, we just called out like multiple women, and women are celebrated when they can get a younger man. Now, again, I'm not saying men should seek out children, but once you're of consenting age, and it is weird for an 81-year-old to be with an 18-year-old. I think that's weird. But this is not that. You know, this is less than 20. I mean, Trump, for all of y'all who love him, Melania is 24 years younger than him. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Scottie Pippen's wife was just seen out with Michael Jordan's son, and there's a huge gap there. And these women get celebrated. You know what I'm saying? So when it's the reverse, and I know that men groom and men have power, and we live in a system of patriarchy. But as a result, I don't know, man. It feels like, maybe I'm overstepping. I don't know. What's up, Ty?
No. I do want to just give a different perspective on the ageism/sexism thing. And because a lot of what we talked about to kind of justify this, which I'm not against it necessarily, but like just a lot of what we talked about justify it was like, what if he wants to have kids and she's young enough to have kids and she's young enough to be sexually, vital, all that other stuff. That in a way is sexism and ageism, because we've just kind of like tossed out the idea that a woman of an appropriate age would be able to have kids or be sexually experimental and adventurous and stuff like that. So the bigger conversation that I was getting at earlier is, why does society deem this as such a win for a man, that he's got this younger woman? And is that kind of a byproduct of the patriarchy? Big conversation, I understand, but that's kind of what I was throwing out there, is like, why is this such a win? And why is it presented that way to us? And like, you listed a bunch of dudes who have the same thing going on. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio is famous for like trading in, a new mid-20s every time they get a chance. So that's the only thing in this situation. It could be they have a beautiful, encouraging, loving relationship, and they care for each other, and everything's wonderful. But on a bigger scale, on a societal scale, there is something where we're just like, there's something we're all missing here, you know?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, Tyrone. Go ahead, Ty.
No, I was just to the comment that you just posted. Who's to say that he hasn't? Like, that's the thing. Like, everything. Like, we don't know what Chris Evans, relationships outside of the ones that he posts are. A lot of Hollywood stars, date Instagram models and and not just date, but frequent these different women and men. And we never are privy to it unless it's caught, out in the open and somebody gets a picture or whatever. Like, but we don't know that he doesn't like 25-year-olds don't appeal to him. And that he hasn't had other opportunities to date other girls. And I just was saying, as far as like the younger, the reason that I say, and it's not just women, it's men too, in their 20s and their your younger age, because we were all 20 at once, at some point. When we were 20, we weren't thinking about marriage. A lot of us weren't thinking about marriage at 20 years old. We were thinking about having fun, living our life, that like, because this is, at 20 years old, you pretty much just got out of the house with your parents, who probably, if they were anything like mine, kind of were like hovering over you, trying to stop you from doing, all of the fun things that the bad kids or whoever you thought was cool was doing and stuff like that. So once you get out in the open, in the real world, you want to live your life. You want to do all the things that you felt like you weren't allowed to do. And
Right.
so that's why I said in your early 20s, you're more sexually driven, because you're not looking at you first of all, you haven't necessarily been taught how to operate in a real relationship. That's number one. You need experience to do that. And number two, like when you're first coming out at that age, you're like, okay, like here's the world. I'm excited to be in it. I'm my own person. And it typically happens like that. Like, I've met a lot of 20-year-olds and know a lot of 20-year-olds, well, 20-plus-year-olds, that, like, kind of prescribe to this behavior, as far as like when you talk to them, they're like, have you met some of the 20-year-olds in this era? Like it's different. It's different. They are very different. So I'm just putting it out there. Like, I'm not, so.
Well, let me do this real quick. Allow me to bookmark this topic, because this is fascinating. I didn't expect us to have so much banter on this, but we're clearly invested. And I honestly think that I have a different theory. I think that men like Chris Evans and Leonardo DiCaprio have a harvest of young women in their basements, and they drink their blood so that they can remain youthful looking. But that's a whole other story.
What is Paul Rudd doing then? Because he looks younger than fucking all. He looks exactly like he did in the 90s.
He does his skincare and he minds his business and he's unproblematic. And
that ain't his skin. That's
gracefully.
That's the baby skin.
He's bathing in the blood of the young children.
That's what I think, bro.
He's going over Leo's house.
Sacrifice children to the blood moon every quarter. And that's why they remain youthful. Paul Rudd he has zero wrinkles. Like, Paul Rudd's got black skin. he's like dude, Paul Rudd don't crack. But since we only have
white velvet
for a short period of time, I wanted to throw some things that we can incorporate Stephanie's input, since we don't have the luxury of having her the whole time. And then maybe we can come back to this a little later, because there's still a couple other topics, such as The Witcher, which has an announcement to make, and we definitely want to talk about that too. But Stephanie, you mentioned you would have a problem with Winston Duke dating a 25-year-old. Well, let me ask you this: do you have a problem with Winston Duke being cast as Marcus Garvey in an upcoming biopic? Do you think this is a good selection? What say you on this casting selection for your boy M'Baku?
Oh, I'm here for it. I think it's an excellent selection. I'm ready for the Black Star Line to take me right on home. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, there's really nothing to debate. The only thing I've heard that's really superficial with regard to his casting is that he's not thick enough. You know what I'm saying? Because Marcus Garvey was a fat boy. You know what I'm saying? Look, Marcus Garvey was not on Nutrisystem. He was not counting his points and doing gluten-free diets. This dude was a hefty one. He was pure Aki Saltfish jerk chicken and them. You don't know because Marcus Garvey. And for those of y'all who are unfamiliar, I've been looking forward to this moment. Marcus Garvey is the father of the Back to Africa movement. Around the period of Reconstruction, this Jamaican king, not real life, but we call him a king, not only started the notion that, listen, we don't have to live in the United States. We can go other places such as Africa because they will openly welcome us. He started to charter boats so that they can get us on the ships and go back to Africa. Because there's people saying, like, go back to Africa. The Pan-African flag that you all use, the one that I would wear around my neck, the red, the green, the black, that's Marcus Garvey. He made that Pan-African flag. So I'm so eager to see his biopic, especially because his Back to Africa movement wasn't successful because of bureaucracy, paperwork, shit like that. And he never made it to Africa. Like he started the Back to Africa movement and never made it. So I hope I didn't spoil the whole movie, but I'm looking forward to M'Baku. And he does have actual traditional African descent. If I'm not mistaken, his mom is African. So I think he has a
His
certain
name is M'Baku.
Well, I mean, come on, that's his name is Winston Duke.
I'm just playing.
But yeah, man. So I think this is going to be something that we will celebrate, Stephanie. And I think that this movie will also shine the light on Marcus Garvey as a historical figure. I'm here for more of these. And one thing, Stephanie, that I think we can look forward to is the fact that he's carrying on the torch of Chadwick Boseman in doing historical biopics for very prominent Black historical figures. What say you?
I love it. I support it. I'm a fan of Marcus Garvey. I'm a fan of Winston Duke. I think it'll be a beautiful compilation. I'm offended that anyone would ever imply that Winston Duke is not thick enough for anything.
He got childbearing hips.
Yes, he does. And I'm trying to get in here.
You know, Vince, you brought up a good point about Winston Duke, and I want to say this. I think what it will do for us and for him is spotlight his acting prowess. I think, like I said that in that one of the things that impressed me more in Wakanda Forever was the depth that we got to see with M'Baku in this movie that we didn't get to see in the first movie. And I think if you give him an opportunity to act and show that he can act, I think he really will, kind of grab those reins and take off. And we'll be talking about him, like, oh my gosh, like maybe being nominated for something. So we got to see.
Yeah, I'm here for that, man. And thank God, you know what I'm saying? Because when we still had that void from Chadwick, and being such a great actor and being able to bring Jackie Robinson, James Brown,
Jackie
and Hugh,
Thurgood Marshall,
the Thurgood Marshall, yeah, the Supreme Court justice, the first Black Supreme Court justice. These characters are alive. I'm so happy that somebody else is being tapped for an African American, not even African, he's for a Black historical figure, and it looks like M'Baku is gonna hold that down. Now, having said that, we are at the part where we can discuss a little bit of some of the stuff that we didn't get to talk about with regard to Black Panther last week. Don't have to spend too much time on it because we definitely want to get into Titans. Maybe not. We definitely want to get into Do we? Tyrone's face was like, yuck.
I mean, if y'all want to hear me roast Titans,
nah. All right, we want to get into Andor because we didn't get to discuss last week's episode of Andor as well. So that's definitely coming up next on the docket. But now that you have seen the movie, before we lose Steph, Nali, what would you say are your favorite takeaway moments? You mentioned that you may have shed a tear or two. What you think about the overall movie? What do you remember the most, and what do you like?
Good. I struggled because I'm Black and Hispanic, and so like such a beautiful depiction of representation for like Mayan culture, Mexican culture, it was just so beautiful. And part of me was like, oh, I'm so sad that they're fighting, because this is like such a good representation of like strong Black community and strong like Mesoamerican community, and I was just like, oh, this is so good. I hate that they have to fight, but it was so beautifully done. I think it was done in such a good way where I'm like, especially towards the end when he was like, just wait and see, they're gonna need us, and I was like,
Yeah.
Daddy, no more things. But I'm just so excited to see what they're gonna do with him in the future. The movie was just really well done. Part of me was just a little bitter just because I don't like Shuri's actress, and even though yes it made sense, and yes I've read comics, so I know that she takes up the mantle at some point. Like I was just like really hoping that it would be someone else, even though I knew better. But I don't think it was done wrong. Like I think her meeting Killmonger in the ancestral plane was like perfect for where the story was at that point. I think she redeemed herself well. I was so glad when they didn't make her be the leader of Wakanda and she stepped aside and let them do their whole battle for who would become leader. Was great because I really don't think she fits that role. I think her going on this whole redemption arc within herself and learning to overcome her need for revenge, learning how to grieve appropriately, giving herself time to grieve appropriately. I think it was just the whole movie in itself was such a good visual depiction of how grieving is different for everybody. Like it's just, there are stages to grieving, but everyone goes about them differently. And just to see like her struggle, how she didn't really take the time to, mourn her brother. She just kind of like packaged it up and put it to the side for a bit until it all came to a head. Like you don't really get to see that journey a lot in movies, especially with Black characters. Like we don't get a lot of vulnerability when it comes to being on screen and telling our stories and stuff. So it was just such a good, beautiful, like, this is the grieving process. This is how people move on. These are strong characters that we've watched in other movies be absolutely strong, just be vulnerable, and some of them even crumble. And it was just such a good, I'm surprised I didn't stop more, but like, it was just such a good, well put together movie. And even though it was a filler, it filled all the right spots.
Yeah, agreed wholeheartedly. Now, I am curious about how you feel the actual movie did Chadwick. I mean, we all had, I think, I don't know, I thought back tears during the opening sequence. I'm gonna keep it real. Like
that's when I started.
There was a whole. You did okay. There was a moment of silence. God damn it! I feel like that was Marvel's, like that was their moment of silence there, right? Like that was I feel like it low key. They were like, look, we're gonna give this dude his tribute, and we're gonna give him a moment of silence, unannounced, right here in the middle of it, and it worked so perfectly, man. And I'm just wondering, did you spill any tears in your popcorn bucket?
First of all, me and my collector's popcorn bucket, which I clutched hard with my Okoye cup and my other cup. I just
she looks like she's still at the movies right now.
I think we've reached Steph's launch window before we get into the next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love you, Steph.
All right. Well, let's let Steph gracefully exit. All right, Steph. Thank you so much for joining on your busy self.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in the background and listen, but I have to catch a train. Okay. So I'm like running. I may pop back later if I get ready as quickly as I'd like to.
Oh well, hold on. What's up with the artwork, yo?
We like your artwork.
What's going on with the art?
Yeah, your artwork's dope.
Yes.
You like
Black
that?
City home.
Where you at?
Home. This is my house.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Look at this.
Now you know ain't no hotels got
hey, yo,
that.
what up,
Stop it. Where you at?
Where you at in Atlanta right now? You know what I'm saying? All right. Well,
Steph, what hotel that's at?
If you hear us,
popcorn bucket on display.
Hey.
You gonna see it again, Steph? You gonna see it again, or that once is enough, right?
I haven't had a chance to. I want to. I just haven't had the time. So it's on my to-do list.
4 times.
Yeah.
But he's got a fire stick. You know what I'm saying?
No, I've seen it 3 times at the movies, 1 time on the fire stick. Like I said,
wow.
I was gonna show love to this. I listen, I don't just talk it. I'm about it. When Woman King came out, I came in this chat and I was like, yo, y'all need to go watch this. But it wasn't Marvel, so y'all didn't have that same energy for it. But I went to the movies to see that. Yep, don't look crazy. You didn't. And I said something about it, yo. Like, maybe go back to the footage.
Okay, all right.
Like I was a little perturbed with y'all. I was like, well, hold up. We need to have this same energy for the Woman King that we have for the Marvel stuff. And y'all was like, well, I might see it. I might,
I feel like I just caught a stray because I saw it.
Till it comes out on video.
Yeah, I definitely just caught some friendly fire because I saw it like the week it came out. It just took me a couple days, but I was on it. So I mean, while you're indiscriminately firing into the crowd, I might have caught one of those. I just wanted to.
Well, sometimes when you're indiscriminately, somebody might get hit.
Tyrone. Well, either way, look. Right now, let's go ahead and let Stephanie gracefully exit. Stephanie, as you enjoy your train ride, and if you hear anything interesting, pop on. All right, that's Steph, y'all. You know we love Steph, right, and Steph loves. Oh, the Steve Snake. Not stop. All right, that's the wrong. That's the. My bad. That's the wrong one too. You know what? Let me just stop. Let me just let Stephanie go this way. All right, cool. So, I don't even know. Look, bro. Don't ask me nothing. Real quick.
Disappointed look.
Real quick shout out to all of our everybody watching us on Twitter. Excuse me, on Twitch. Shout out to folks that are. Shout out to Jay. And everybody from Comedy Hub, Facebook, YouTube. If you are watching this on anything other than one of our pages, I'd ask that you politely do find us on the YouTube page and the channel. We love Comedy Hub. We love our Facebook pages. We love our individual pages, but our YouTube page is where we will be consistently. So please make sure y'all subscribe, go like, and hit that notification button. We only going to upload stuff like once a week or so. Everything else we ain't mind. But for right now, man, I think that's a fairly decent. There's so much to talk about with the Black Panther thing, but I ain't gonna lie. Like we'll have plenty of time to discuss. We talked about a lot of it last week. I think one of the biggest takeaways is that we at least have a future in the franchise with the young man that came out. It's just a matter of how they mix this story with the Storm story that we're looking forward to. Now we can, yes, sir. Please.
Real quick. Also, there are rumblings, and these are pretty. I think the pretty strong rumblings. That Marvel was just waiting to see the success of this movie, and based on the success of this movie, you may see more of Namor, and that part is the part that I'm like okay,
that's what
So Namor may be in other things, or may very well get his own storyline. So we'll see.
There's so much background with him, and there's so many different characters that come with Namor and like his world. And after seeing like what they've showed us, you know what I'm saying, underwater like that, my mind is blown. I need a new Atlantis movie, like when we were kids, the 90s movie. I need a new one of those. Like Disney just opened up so many different
Disney is doing a live action of Atlantis, by the way.
Say what?
Disney announced they're doing a live action of Atlantis.
Yes! Oh my God!
Yeah.
They announced it at D23.
Yeah, they compared his introduction to that of Civil War with Chadwick. So they're comparing Namor's introduction in this movie to what they did with Chadwick in Civil War. So based off the success of this, Namor may get his own stuff or possibly be seen.
He definitely needs to. He killed his role. I like how did you guys see how they had to CGI his man parts?
No.
Smaller.
Wait, what?
They had to make it
like look in the group. I posted it. His bulge in his little water shorts, his little mermaid shorts. His bulge was a little too bulgy, so they had to CGI it down a little bit. Yep. Look in the group. You'll. I posted in the group earlier this morning. I
called them the shame shorts.
Oh wow!
Listen, ain't no shame in that.
Namor is the living God.
The serpent god was had to be tamed.
Hold up, man. You trying to tell me? You trying to tell me that Namor's?
I'm gonna send it to you right now.
The print was on display.
Absolutely not.
Corliss is not the only sea snake.
Well, you bring.
Did you call him the serpent god?
Oh, whoa!
I
Oh,
see
yeah,
why
it's on
now.
point with the pun.
I'm trying to find out.
That got me sweating out here. All right, so let me ask you this, man. You just brought up the possibility. Well, you said that they are now they're confirming an Atlantis live action movie now.
Mhm.
Yaz went ape shit, but I don't know if she knows that you're probably referring to the Disney
Yeah.
cartoon.
That's what I'm
Journey to
talking
Atlantis.
about. Yes, that's what that's what I want them to live action remake. That cartoon was so badass, and we got a
So
second
good.
movie to it, and it was really good too. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
okay,
But like
okay.
that was it. There was nothing else, and like there's so much more culture and so much more that they could have let us see, and like there's still more continued to that movie that they just left off. You know what I'm saying? Like after fucking Milo becomes like he becomes a fucking Atlantean. You know what I'm saying? Like they have kids and shit. Like where are the damn kids? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see that. And like after seeing like literally Black Panther when they went underwater, like I literally got fucking chills because I'm like, oh yes, Disney, give me what I want. There's so many underwater like depictions that we could be getting now that like Black Panther just like opened that fucking door for us. So I'm super excited.
Well, I'm curious about. I mean, I'm sorry. Did I step on somebody?
No, you're good.
Okay. Well, tell me how you feel about the battle for Atlantis between DC and Marvel, because
Is there really a
if you know,
It's not.
I mean,
It's
I was
there
just
kinda
about to
is.
say it's not. It's not.
Yes,
Listen,
there is.
DC is learning from Marvel of how to do shit. So it's not really a battle when you're like copying the homework down from like your competitor.
Also,
Copy
there's
my homework, but don't make it look the same.
yeah, in the MCU anyway, it's not Atlantis, it's Telecon. There's no
That's
so
what I was
there's no
about to
battle.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's what I'm saying though. Atlantis is not part of the MCU. That's like something completely different. But this like Telecon just opened that up for us though. Like there's so many different possibilities of different stuff. You know what I'm saying? And like I was saying, like there's Namora, there's like Namor's son. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many different characters now that like it's gonna open us up for like. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited to see where this is gonna go.
Namor has
like,
such an extensive storyline with so many like he's intertwined with so many baddies, so many like groups, and it's just like there's just so much that you could do with this. And I am hype as hell.
I wish we could get Avengers versus X-Men. That was one of my favorite. That was my favorite Namor. The Phoenix 5 is amazing. That would be brilliant.
You might, Tyrone, this might be setting us up for that shit though. You know what I'm saying? Because we're getting X-Men soon. Now we have Namor.
Maybe in the far future. I would love for that to be the case. It's going to be a while because there's we're probably like 5 years out at least from even seeing X-Men as a thing. So yeah, it'll be a while, but that would be fantastic. I would be happy as hell.
Right.
Avengers versus X-Men would break the box office. Especially if they do it properly and set it up with multiple movies that end up resulting in the clash, as opposed to just, hey, we're going to do, X-Men and just throw a bunch of characters together, which I think that they're poised to do right now. I think that Marvel is finally owning up to the fact that they fucked up the X-Men franchise, which I think is why we keep seeing them trying to creep the mutants into the MCU. Yeah. We said it ain't all on Marvel. What?
No, Fox.
Fox dug that hole. Marvel's trying to dig it out. So
yeah. What y'all need to I feel like all of y'all that have a latching onto a handle of the Marvel universe, that's you, Fox, that's you, Sony. Y'all need to just relinquish your control and give custody to the parents. Like, stop it. You know what I'm saying? This whole Spider-Verse thing. Madam Web, are you fucking kidding me?
Yes,
Get the fuck out of here, man. Madam Web, like, whose idea was it to talk about the most uninteresting motherfucker in the whole entire Spider-Man universe who shows up to tell you like your tarot card reading and shit just because she can make smoke? And like, fuck that shit, man. I like please relinquish that shit. And you killed Venom. All right, you killed the Venom franchise. It should have been so much. Oh my God! Don't even get me started, man. So, look,
Tom Hardy
being the star. Relinquish Spider-Man. They will never relinquish Spider-Man. That is their only claim to fame outside of PlayStation.
They literally just got Tom Holland re-signed too. So he just re-signed a whole nother contract, like to be Spider-Man again. He's back into being Spider-Man again.
Yeah.
Here's what I like about Tom Holland, though. Tom Holland's open to the future. He openly said, look, maybe Miles Morales should be the future of the Spider-Man franchise. And that means that he's not going to cling to the power. You know what I'm saying? He's like, look, man, I'm willing to forego. And who better to introduce. I can see it. It'll be just like the Spider-Man game. You know what I'm saying? Like which also that's coming out too. Spider-Man 2 is coming out pretty soon next year. So that's a whole other thing. We need, and by the way, a quick announcement, especially for our Twitch fans, our Twitch followers. We will be more than likely sometime in the upcoming future announcing a time and date for our weekly gaming segment. Now that we've got 5 gamers on here, man, me and Talim have been stuck on this game called Returnal.
Oh my god!
I really want a PS5 so bad. I'm about to tell my boyfriend move in just so I could use it.
We'll go ahead. We'll put up the GoFundMe before the end of the broadcast. But we'll talk about all that, man. But there's so much to talk about. Well, I was just saying, like, in the world of Atlantis, of course, there's many of Atlantises, and I don't want to talk too much about this because it's not really as relevant as I thought. But we have the Taka. Oh man, it's so hard for me to say. Say it,
Talokan.
Talokan world down here that was actually supposed to be Atlantis, and versus what we saw in DC for Aquaman's world. And so we got 2 completely different depictions. We have 2 franchises battling over the use of a historically known city. Like, people are trying to say, look, a city of Atlantis did exist. There actually are artifacts underneath the ocean that show that there was a city before, blah, blah, blah. And both of these franchises, the same way they kind of are, talk about different cultures, they're trying to capitalize on this. And if you notice, in this movie, they didn't mention Atlantis. The name Atlantis did not. Now, you say, well, that's because but in the comics, from my understanding, Namor's from Atlantis. Like, he ruled over Atlantis. So from where I stand, they conceded Atlantis. The same way DC conceded Captain Marvel to Marvel Comics. So I don't know if that changes anything from y'all, but y'all say that there's no way that they can do better, but Marvel did not.
Yeah, no, this is an upgrade in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think they conceded. Yeah, this is an absolute upgrade. Even though Namor was first, Namor came before Aquaman and was an Atlantean before Aquaman and all that stuff. This is 100% an upgrade over that. So Marvel being like, "Hey, y'all can have Atlantis," I think that was a good move.
I really like what they did with it, with the rewriting of, the basis of like their beliefs, their gods, and everything, and how they changed the story to reflect like Mayan and Aztec culture.
Yeah, I love that.
It was such an upgrade. Like, like Atlantis, you can have it
done too. Like,
great.
Yeah, I thought that it definitely looked way better than Atlantis. Yes. Remember Atlantis? They had that weird thing where they were talking and like it looked all weird. You know what I'm saying? When they would talk. I think that they definitely represented that underwater city so dope. I loved the fight. Here's the question before we move on. Did Shuri make the right decision? Did Shuri
by what not joining Namor?
By not killing
him? Not killing Namor. All right, spoiler alert. Which we threw up earlier. Shuri was faced with the decision: do I avenge my mother? And basically, cut the head off of this snake, or do I show them who I really am and give him mercy? Tyrone, you as the best of us, what say you, my friend? Should she have granted him that immunity, or what? Do you think it's going to come back to bite her in the butt? I know that there was that conversation they had at the end, like, oh, they'll be our friends and everything, but you don't know. He said there were more people in Atlantis or in
Talokan. Yeah,
Talokan. Then there were blades of grass in Wakanda.
We can make a blooper video of you just like the wrong fucking name, dog.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, tactically, it was a good move because if you kill Namor, then you are at war. You are at perpetual war with Talokan, and you don't know how that's going to go. I mean, we've seen, they were getting honestly every time there was some sort of battle, Wakanda was getting their asses kicked. Every time, and it wasn't until there was the alliance that they stopped getting their asses kicked. Now they were, going down swinging. You know what I mean? Without a doubt, and that's great. Wakanda's full of amazing warriors, but I think tactically it was the better decision. Morally, I think it was the right decision, and because of it, we get a future full of Namor, and I love that.
Yeah, and we all. I'm sure. Yeah, go ahead, Ty.
Well, no, me and Stephanie actually had a conversation about this when it first, and I'm gonna read you my response to her because she asked me the same question back when the movie first came out, and this was my response. I said, I never want to see anyone of Wakandan blood go full berserker because they are the best of us, completely untouched by capitalism and colonialism. And this is the true nature of us. We're compassionate, noble, and merciful. Leave the savagery to the savages who only thrive by stealing and manipulation. They call them colonizers. I call them cowards. That's what I believe, that when you're looking on screen and you see anybody of Wakandan descent, in this, and especially after what Chadwick showed us on screen, as far as just being just the best, just a good overall all around individual. You don't want to tarnish his legacy. You don't want to tarnish what Wakanda is supposed to represent, which is supposed to be the best of us. Like that is what Wakanda represents. That is the best of us, untouched, unscathed. That, like, so yeah. When it came down to her killing, if that would have just messed up everything in the movie if she would have killed Namor right there.
All right. Well, I would like to rebuttal that by what we're seeing here in the private chat from our counterpart Stephanie, which says, and I quote, "Should have killed him with 4 exclamation points."
Yes, she would.
I know. Yo,
Yeah.
Stephanie be the most ruthless Dora Milaje like leader. Like kid him. I do not care. I do not care.
If you ask Stephanie who her favorite character is besides M'Baku, it is definitely going to be Killmonger.
Yeah. Stephanie would have killed Riri Williams after she threw the speakers. Well, kill her. Gotta kill her. She attacked. Sorry.
Not her saying correct.
Hey, she wouldn't be wrong. All right, man. Well, listen, as much as I want to talk about Black Panther this entire time, man, there are a couple other things I want to bring up real quick. And since we did just mention, first of all, one of the reasons why our boy Ty Leem here was a little late to the broadcast today is because he spent half of the evening gaming with our good friend Tyrone, playing a game called Avengers. So y'all, if y'all ain't following our Twitch, make sure y'all hit that New Blurred Order Twitch, and we'll be posting some doing some live stuff on there. But video games is hot right now, man. I mean, let's talk about that. In the world of video games, there's a new announcement for those of y'all that are unaware. We wanted to talk about this a couple weeks ago, but we were so Black Panther crazed. But unfortunately, well, you tell me how you feel about this. Seems like there's a new Geralt of Rivera in town, in the world of The Witcher. It sounds like the baton has been passed to a Helmsworth, and it's not a good look so far. Yeah, we got a great value Witcher.
No, that's the Wish, dude.
The Wish. Yo, I'm curious about your feelings about this announcement. I'll hold my comments for after, but let's start with Steph. I know you're a Helmsworth Brothers fan, even the one that nobody likes, Luke. You're a fan. But what say you? I think we're all in agreement. The Witcher is a great series. We loved it. Season 2, maybe not as good as season 1. But what's the first thing that comes to your mind, Yaz, when I say, hey, the little brother of Thor, he's going to take the place of Superman in Witcher. Like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Fuck no. I'm sorry. That's just no. He's, it's not for the lack of trying, but no. So I'm sorry, but Henry Cavill, that's just Gerald. Like, I can't see that any other fucking way. Like, he masters him so beautifully, and I cannot, no matter how hard Liam tries, he's not going to sound like him, mannerisms like him. You know what I'm saying? He's Gerald, and I'm sorry, but for me, I would have definitely taken him not to be Superman over being Gerald. That's just, I don't need another Superman movie, and there's plenty of Superman out there that are younger as well, like Tom Welling from like Smallville. He played a pretty good Superman. Why can't we recast him as Superman. Like, why does fucking Henry Cavill have to be a Superman every time? He's gotten his glories. He's, you know, I'm just saying, like, I would rather him play something else. He's fucking God in this shit, and you're gonna take him away?
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. Nolly, what's up?
So he had said that he would do Superman and The Witcher. The problem is that the writers of The Witcher said that they hate the games, they hate the books, and so they're going to change the story. And that's when he said, "I'm out." And to that, I say, "Count your motherfucking days, Netflix." Because what the hell?
Yeah.
What the hell? Like, we finally had, like, do you know how hard it is to have a good series movie based on a video game? Like, okay.
Oh my God.
Like, for example, Resident Evil. What the fuck happened with that series? Like, it started off okay, middle of the movie, I was like, what the fuck is happening? And then 5 movies later, I still didn't know what was going on. Okay?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so it's hard to get some good shit for some video games. And y'all gonna fuck this up? You're gonna say, we don't really like the material. So why'd you make a fucking show?
Yeah, don't take the job.
Like, I just...
And Netflix
Well,
is
you're gonna give us great value Witcher after, like, sir.
Netflix
My
is
man
here.
looked like his balls ain't dropped yet. Like, I don't. And you want me to believe that that's true? Like, I have questions, concerns, many comments, and I'm upset.
Yes, what you trying to say?
I
love when Daz is speechless. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Can I quickly give?
Sorry. No, you're good.
I thought you were still speechless. My bad. I wanted to quickly give Henry Cavill a nerd salute because he is a real, just through and through nerd, and absolutely love the source material. He's such and for him to stand up like that, I have so much respect for that because I don't think we have enough people who are in these kind of, whether it's superhero stuff, whether it's comic book stuff, game stuff, whatever. We don't have enough people who like truly love it that are doing it. And you can see when people do truly love it, how good it can be. So when somebody like this makes a stand, I can appreciate it. It's going to suck that we're not going to get good Witcher most likely, but I still have nothing but respect for that move.
I feel
man.
My
Go
bad.
ahead, yes.
I was gonna say, I feel like all the stars of Netflix, like the really like, you know, good stars, they need to definitely stand up against Netflix and tell them they need to stop their bullshit because they're ruining stuff not only for them but for us fans as well, you know. And it's kind of getting a little fucking old. They keep taking these good shows and they're like, oh, I don't really like it, so we're gonna stop showing it. And then they stop showing it, and then everyone gets pissed off, and then they bring it back, and they're like, okay, but we changed it a little bit, so it's not as good as you liked it to be, but it's still here. It's getting fucking ridiculous, and Netflix is infamous for that. And I'm kind of getting old with this shit.
I have questions. Why? First of all, please forgive my ignorance. I'm a fan of The Witcher, and I'm going to download the expansion. There's another upgrade to the Witcher game, which I still haven't beat. I've been playing The Witcher for like 2 years, and I'm like 3%. I'm like 3% of the game, and I'm stuck right now. I'm trying to beat this vampire dude. He keeps kicking my ass. I'm like, you know what? I'll just come back next year and see how I do. But is there The Witcher is based on books? Is that correct?
I believe
it's
so.
not
Yeah.
just a video game. Okay,
Yeah.
so one thing I did read that Henry Cavill is like the guy who you cast him. He goes for roles that he's familiar with. Like I think I heard he built his own computer. Like this dude, he reads. He's not just a Superman player. Like he's a Superman fan. He even reads the Marvel comics. Like he's a legitimate nerd, despite the fact that he looks like a linebacker. So I think that it definitely works. I'm a little nervous though because I don't understand why they couldn't. If I'm not mistaken, guys, weren't they already planning an origins, like a Blood Witch origins? Like there's a Blood Witch origin story that they were considering having Jason
coming out in
Momoa.
December.
Right. So
Yeah,
why even like I don't understand. You know, your greatest asset in this project, Netflix, is Henry Cavill. Make him happy. You know what I'm saying? And the fans will come. Like this is not going to end well for them. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Money.
Ty, what you think? What you think, Ty?
I think Netflix has way too much content, and when you have access, and when you have access to as much content as they have, there's going to be a lot of stuff that falls by the wayside, but they always replace it. As much as I love The Witcher, I'm not really that moved by Netflix. What Netflix is doing. There's a lot of good series that Netflix has had thus far that has fell through the cracks because they have so much content. So this is just one more that kind of just, as successful as it was. I'm not going to be surprised when Netflix comes out with another successful series of something else or whatever it is. When it came to Liam Hemsworth being the choice, I was a little like, why? Liam. I know Liam has done a lot of different movies. He's been in Hunger Games. He's been in a lot of stuff, but he's most notable for his name. And I was just like, if you are to replace a Henry Cavill, make a splash and replace him with someone of equal or greater value. You don't let him walk and then give us this knockoff version and then expect us to continue to have allegiance to this show. It's not going to happen. So I mean, maybe they're okay with that. I like you said, the blood origin. I think Michelle, what's her name? Michelle Yao or Michelle?
Michelle Yao.
Yeah. She's gonna be in it. She's a huge star, great actress. We just saw her in probably one of the best movies of the year. And I think she's gonna kill that role. I may watch that. But the whole Liam thing, I'll check out an episode or two. But as soon as he starts, doing stuff that's out of the order, I'm just gonna probably just turn it off and just go on about my business. But Netflix is not phased, not in the least, by any of this at all. They just have way too much content to care, and it's obvious. So.
All right. Well, good luck, Netflix. Keeping our interest, man. I mean, I feel a little bad. A small part of me feels a tiny bit bad for Liam because he's like, oh my God, like he just wants to act.
He drives with $100 bills. He'll be okay.
Oh, he's gonna be all right. Yeah. Would you raising your hand, Nolly, or would you?
Yes.
You want to say something? What's up?
The whole Witcher thing makes me anxious, right? Because Netflix pumps out a shit ton of content. Every other week there's something new. But when it comes to gaming things, especially since like gaming is like huge part of me, right? And so like my most favorite game series ever is BioShock. They're doing the movie. And the fact that they're letting the Witcher shit go the way that it's going makes me so anxious because BioShock deserves to have like such a great attempt at it. It's an intricate and fucking fucked up and beautiful story at the same time. And so I'm so anxious. I'm like, they're going to fuck it up. And they just announced that they're doing Gears of War. So now I'm like, oh God. So now I'm just like, they're going to fuck it up. They're going to fuck it up. And like, Netflix does a lot of things good. But when it comes to certain things, I'm just like, please, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Please put the right people behind the project.
I will say this, man. We've passed the era, I believe, of expecting terrible productions for movie productions for video games. Mm-hmm. I think Halo has proven that. I think The Witcher season 1 and season 2 has proven that. I even think that The Last of Us, which hasn't even been released yet, it looks hella dope, and I put a little credence into that. So hopefully this trend can continue. Hopefully it continues. I'm a little nervous about Gears of War, but I know Gears of War has a good heart in it. Like it has a good story, with Snake and his son and all of that. Snake.
They're trying to cast Batista as the main dude though, and I like him, but he doesn't have the range to carry.
For it.
Yeah, after that Zack Snyder zombie movie, I was like, oh, okay, Batista, like you have a lane, and like we should probably stay in that because he tried to be sad and he was just like. It's like damn, Batista.
But Tyrone, you make a fair point. But with the Gears of War movie, I feel like that is absolutely where he would thrive at because you're not asking him for a whole lot of dialogue. You're just asking him to be this burly soldier And he fits that. Like if you just play, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you played Gears of War before. If you look at the characters and everything like that, he fits the mold. He fits the mold aesthetically and visually, and visually. And I don't know that this is going to be one of those films where the acting is what we're focused on. I think it's just going to be action based. Like I'll give you a perfect example. Arnold Schwarzenegger did a movie called Commando. Like Commando was just action packed the whole way through, and the few times that you had to hear Arnold kind of do dialogue scenes, it was a little cringy, but they followed it right up with some good old action. And I think if Netflix is smart, you focus more on the action side. Because we have seen them be able to be successful with action movies. Old Guard was pretty good. The movie with Chris Hemsworth, where he was
Red.
Huh?
Oh, I forget the name of it. Yeah,
I forget it too. But I'm just saying, what we've seen is that they have had some success with these action kind of movies and whatever. So if you just give them a better supporting cast. Because like you said, we watched the Zack Snyder joint. It's just Zack. I think we got to blame Zack for that. Like this, a lot of that is Zack. Like because there were people in that movie that we were like, I kind of like him. I like that person. I like that person. But yeah, if you just kind of limit his talking points and just kind of make him what Gears of War would be, I think he'd actually fit the mold pretty well.
I think that Dave Bautista would be a good addition to the cast, but not a good main cast. I don't think that he'd be I think that he'd be good. Like first of all, like you said, he fits the build. Everybody on Gears of War looks like they were like fed HGH through a tube, and like they look inflated. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't look. So Dave Bautista, he fits that mold. So I wouldn't mind seeing him with one of the big guns running around and ducking down and doing all that.
Exactly.
But as the main character, I think it'd be I think I do want to have somebody, not Josh Brolin, but Josh Brolin-esque. You know what I'm saying? Like who has the acting chops, but also can carry out the action sequences. But the build is definitely important. So don't fuck that up, whoever it is that's putting that Gears of War thing together. Now listen, guys, I gotta get to this because we haven't been able to get to this stuff for the last couple of weeks, man. So we have to discuss, and we're gonna use the rest of the time to talk this up because we didn't get to talk about it last week. But our favorite Star Wars show, I ain't gonna say ours, mine right now. I'm gonna keep it real, man. Like it's Mandalorian, and then it is Andor. Andor is killing it. It's starting to do this.
It's starting to do this.
It's starting to do that thing.
It's starting to do this.
And you know it already enjoys the luxury of having more episodes in its season. So we get to just watch it more and more and more and just get even more into it. So I would like to go over what we've missed over these last couple of weeks, y'all, with Andor. Now, Tyrone, if you could, man, we haven't really been able to talk about Andor. You, I'm sure, are up to par. You're caught up. Hopefully, most of us are. We'll spoil, okay? But if you don't mind, man, just give us a synopsis of where we are in the Andor world. What happened in the most recent episode?
On the most recent episode, we spent a lot of time back on Ferrix. Mama Marva is passed. Rest in peace, Mama Marva. And we got a lot of B2, the droid, which I thought was great. I love that droid. It's very sad. But yeah, they're kind of dealing with that. So we have the ISB is kind of planning to be at her funeral to capture Andor if he shows up. We also had Luthen going around trying to get things in place to where they can essentially sacrifice one of their most decorated and famed rebel pilots and leaders so they can keep this rebellion strong and keep it going. He recruited Saw Gerrera for his cause in a very intense scene, which I love how they've used Saw in this show. It's been fantastic. Really quick shout out to the X-Wings for Saul Guerrera's X-Wings. Love a revolutionary X-Wing. So down for that. We what do we have? Oh, we did. I know we didn't get a chance to talk about it a couple weeks ago. So we know that Andor escaped his prison and helped to encourage Kino Loy to lead an all-out, rebellion in the prison, getting them all out of there. Which Andy Serkis deserves to be recognized for this role. I think this is one of his best ever. He absolutely killed it. I teared up during his speech when he was getting everybody all pumped up in the prison and stuff. I was like, man, he's doing it. This is the kind of rebellious spirit that we need in Star Wars right now. So it was great. And then we almost ended last episode with one of my favorite space battle scenes, which I wasn't expecting from Andor. It was smart. It was beautiful. It looked amazing. And it was super intense too. It was intense on the level of like, for me, it was like the basement scene in Inglourious Bastards, where it's like, it's about to go down, but it's just a matter of when, and you're just like waiting for that intensity to just boil over. Andor has been at this point, and I just want to take us back to the very beginning before Andor even came out. I was like, I feel like this has the chance to be the best Star Wars show, and y'all were like, better than Mandalorian. I was like, yeah, I think, and you were like, you crazy, and y'all couldn't even fathom the idea. But here we are, we're like, damn, but Andor has earned that comparison, because up until that point, there had been nothing that kept our interest and had us as excited as Mandalorian. But Andor has won most of us here over, and also it seems to be winning over a bigger audience than the usual Star Wars shows do. They've been talking about this being the best show on TV right now, talking about even showing it on some other platforms so they can start to rally support around it. I think they're going to try to make a push for awards with this show.
Cool. As they should. Well, Ty, are you getting that same feeling, Talim, that this show, I saw that you and I have both collectively decided that this show has beat out all the rest of the Star Wars shows, and is second on our line of favorites. What is it that appeals to you about the show, Ty?
Well, I mean, Cassian. I mean, he's owning his role. I mean, like I was telling Tyrone last night, he does the best acting with his face that I've seen anybody do on screen. Like when you don't even have to say words, but you can express all your emotions, and we feel it. Like we, as the viewer, we feel every. Like, just look at that. Like you can look at his face. Like he's concerned. Like there is true concern. Like this is when you start talking about acting. And you talk about what separates good acting from great acting. This is what you're talking about. You're talking about an individual who doesn't even have to say words. Soon as he steps on the scene and he comes into the scene, he owns the scene. Everything is like revolving around him once his face hits the screen. And that to me is just indicative of how good of a job he is doing in this role. I just said it's like this. It is like this with Mandalorian and Andor. And maybe it's because it's been so long since we've seen Mandalorian that it's kind of like, Andor's fresh for me. It's really good, and I'm just like, as soon as Baby Grogu hits the joint again, I'm gonna be like, oh, that's cute. But no, it's not just him. Skarsgård, Luthen is amazing.
He is.
I hate his face.
Cyril.
Yes. I hate his face. He's got like a punchable face.
Yeah, I hate his face, but he also is doing a very good job. But I hate him. But like when it comes to the temperature, each time I watch an episode, the last week's episode, I told Tyrone, it felt like Shawshank Redemption. It really felt like that. It was like, this is the uprising. We're escaping. Andy Serkis put on a magnificent performance. and then we flip. We get to this week's episode. Luthen is in his element. Working out all the kinks of the rebellion and trying to make sure that things continue to run. And I also want to spotlight the young lady that works with him, that's in that shop. She seems as though she's a lot more of brains of the brains of the operation than we may know, because like she's always the one that's looking at everything. Like she's weighing it out. She's had to put Luthen in place a couple of times. Like, look, you're getting a little out of hand. Like you're doing stuff a little crazy.
She's the rebellion's Dedra, if you think about it.
Yeah,
she is. Very detail oriented, very straightforward what it is that they're trying to get done. But yeah, this series, I give Tyrone his props. He definitely called it. We all looked at him like, man, how dare you? Blasphemy to say it would be better than Mandalorian. All of the other Star Wars series, I'm not even going to mention them, because like I don't even want to compare them to this, because it's not fair. It's not even a fair comparison. So like, but Mandalorian being top tier, this is like, man, they coming. So yeah, Mandalorian better get their shit together and get out here and do something before we forget about them.
Let me throw. Yeah, you're caught up, right? All right. The one thing I'll say is this show doesn't even seem like it's on the same. Like it's how sometimes you'll hear like people say, "Hey man, who's better, like Bob Marley or Bounty Killer?" You're like, I can't compare those two. You know what I'm saying? They're like this kind of feels like that. Like you can't. They're almost incomparable, even though they're both in the Star Wars franchise. Like they're completely different feels. Like Mandalorian is about a character, one or two main characters. And even though this is called Andor, it's about Cassian. It's really about the rebellion and like the rebellion's development and the things that go in and out of the rebellion and the things that we didn't really consider because we were so worried about the TIE fighters and the Death Star and Darth Vader and the like all this time. This is the whole basis of all that shit. So like I'm just wondering like how has it really affected you and what you think about the most recent episode where they did escape the Shawshank Redemption and we even got a chance to meet another thing. I also real quick I'm gonna throw this in. I know I'm asking you a question, Yaz, but I also think that they're not pandering and not just giving us a bunch of cameos, which is also helping as well. But yeah, what say you about this most recent episode and the dude whose belly helped him escape?
Butt belly.
It looked like balls.
I thought they was titty. I was like, damn, he's got one titty.
I just like how like they were like looking at them running towards the ship, and he's like looking at his friend like, what the fuck these guys think they're doing? And he's like, I don't know. The next thing you know, he like goes boom, and they just like boom, and he's just like, I'm gonna go pick this nigga up. Who they think they are? Like that was the greatest thing ever. Like you got these fat dudes like we can outrun them. Like you don't need to outrun them. They got technology, bro. Like yeah.
Right.
I don't know. This, like you said, I kind of agree with you. Like both of these shows, Mandalorian and Andor, they are two of the top tier Star Wars shows, hands down, as of late. But like you said, I feel like they're also in different tiers. Like they're in their own top tiers. They're each individually like the top of, because like you said, this is giving us more into like the rebellion, things about the rebellion, like we didn't even know about. We didn't even consider, because like you were saying, we were in the shit, we were fighting everything. But I mean, how did it start? How did it get funded? Who were the main people that were, putting this together behind the scenes that were actually inside, of the corruption? So I mean, it's very interesting. Honestly, after watching Rogue One, I didn't think I was going to like this series just because I wasn't a big fan of that show. But after watching this and seeing how detailed it is and how, there's way more layers than I thought there was going to be inside of this, it's definitely, it's a great show. And I love, the new characters they throw in and how, they just, kind of mesh them in there. Like these dudes, like what the fuck were they even doing on this planet? You know what I'm saying? Like I like that. Like they were just there. You know what I'm saying? And they were like, I'm gonna use them to steal their ship, and they actually ended up like helping them get off. You know what I'm saying? With them trying to steal their ship. So it's really funny how things turn about. But I don't know, Mandalorian, like you were saying, it's a show about a guy who ends up, getting custody basically of a child. Like I don't know how else to put that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then him having to decide like who's gonna be the best godparent to leave him with to like, train him. You know what I'm saying? Like that's I don't know how else to look at it, but that's how you look at that. So, these shows touch people in different kinds of ways. And it also it expands your mind into thinking like, damn, this one little, like, well, not little, but this one show and this one like basically thing that we all love, it's got so many different layers, so many aspects about it that like just appeal to so many different people on different levels. And that's what makes it so great. That's why so many people love and hate it, because like it appeals to everybody in different ways. You know what I'm saying? And like, there's things you're gonna like about it and things you're not gonna like about it. So I don't know, this show is I love it. And that scene with the fucking ship and the dual lightsabers, yo, that was so like I was like, please say the lightsabers come out, and they did. Oh, yo, I screamed at that point. I was so hyped. I'm not gonna lie, that was fucking badass. So yeah, I don't know. It's a great show. Like I didn't think I was gonna like it, but it's growing on me, like no lie.
And how Tyrone, you had your hand up.
I just wanted to talk to a point that Yaz made about those two dudes and the way that they help them. One of the things that the show does so well that I don't think any other Star Wars property has done is show like just how far-reaching and bad imperialism and colonialism is. Because these guys, the reason they were so keen to help Andor and the other dude is because
the Empire.
Their shit is also being ravaged by the Empire. Like this, all of their resources are being taken. They're struggling to survive the impact of the Empire. So they're like, oh yeah, you're one of us, basically. Like now that we are like we oppressed our one people, and it's they really get into the ins and outs of a fascist imperial kind of ruler and the people that end up becoming their victims, which is basically everybody. So this, I mean, just as a rebellion show, as something that goes into the mundanity, like the mundane nature and the minutia of like fascist rule. It's really good. Like it's crazy good. Sorry, Yaz got me excited when she brought up those two guys.
No, please go sit, Ty, and then I got
to. I just wanted to say there are very strong similarities in the character of Cassian with Diego Luna and Pedro and Din
Djarin.
Yeah. And the reason I say that is because the like I was saying with Diego does a very, very good job of acting with all of wearing all of his emotions to where you can actually see him. And Pedro does the same thing with having a mask on, but you still kind of feel his emotions and feel his energy underneath the mask. Like that's great acting. Like you for you to be able to act and we never really see your face, but we kind of know your emotions, like the way he kind of deals with baby Grogu, and there's love there. Like, but you can never see his face, and he never it's just, but you hear it in his voice. You see it in the influxes. That like those type of things are what I spot when I'm looking like, oh, that's really dope acting. That's really, and I think those are the things that we are kind of zeroing in on as audience members. Obviously the storylines are really good on both shows. But I think the acting is what pushes it over the top. Everything is pushed over the top because the acting is so superb on both of these shows.
I'll take it a step further, and Nali, I don't know if you're caught up on Andor. Hopefully you are, but I'll take it a step further. I say it's not even the acting; it's the production completely. Like I get every single time they back pan and show like the whole entire setup of whatever planet it is that they're on. I'm like, holy shit! Like this shit looks so. It doesn't look like Marvel. Like if you watch Marvel movies, I'm gonna keep it real. Like they've gone a little extra green screen, in my opinion. Like they're a little. It's a little OD. Sometimes you're watching, you're like, all right, like we all did the She-Hulk thing, and we were like, oh my god, like she looks horrible. And even in some scenes, like when they fought Thanos on that one planet, like you're like that the entire planet is green screen. With this, you can't even tell what's green screen, what's not. Sometimes you can't tell. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so seamlessly done. So I think that contributes to it as well. Nolly, I'm interested in your thoughts on the series as well in the last episode. But if I may, I really want to get this question in. We run out of time, so I'm just a little nervous. I want to get this question in, if you don't mind, Nolly. Bear with me, Tyrone. What's going on with Mon Mothma? Well, like what's really going on? Like, and is this guy right here really offering to betroth his son to Mon Mothma's daughter, even though she doesn't really harvest any? Like, I don't understand like what this whole plot.
There's they seem to come from a people who have like a deep religious tradition that is like, if you have some power, then you do the whole like, you know, combined family sort of thing, arranged marriages and that sort of thing. And it looks like Mon Mothma has tried to go away from that, and she's trying to, you know, move forward and not be a part of that. But she talked about how her daughter kind of found this, and how you know, now she's into it just kind of by herself, which by the way, if you're trying to rise as a fascist empire, what you definitely want is people going hardcore religious. That is a beautiful way to, you know, seriously, a beautiful way to reinforce those ideas. So this is like, in a way, her daughter is just like another victim of that. But yeah, Mon Mothma's, you could see the desperation in this last episode, where she was just watching everything slip away from her. You know, she's been trying so hard to fight things publicly as much as possible, but more than anything, she really does care that the rebellion is successful. And she now kind of sees how things are just kind of slipping away, and how they're reaching a bit of a tipping point where it's going to, you know, tip into, you know, mass violence and, you know, I guess more mass violence.
Okay. All right. Nolly, you loving the show?
I love Andor. It's so beautifully done. And, you know, like, it's just a good example of how to utilize your budget appropriately, because the scenes aren't extravagant, but they look like every frame cost them over $1 million. Like, it's just well put together. And the writing is top notch. That whole Prison Break episode, probably my favorite, 100%. Like, I need them to get their flowers, because I'm so glad that they're pushing it to be on cable network and on Hulu, because I need to see some awards given here.
Yeah.
It's just such a great show, and it makes me want to watch Rogue One over and over again. Like, I'm waiting, because next week is the series finale, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna watch Rogue One right after. I'm ready. It's pumping me up.
And that's how you know a show is so good, when you dread the season finale, right? Because like every end of the show, and that music comes on, I'm like, no, it's over already. Oh my God, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a little nervous, man, because if there's one complaint I could launch against this, is that they haven't really narrowed down the plot to the point where we can look forward to a conclusive. Like, we know it's going to be cliffhanger, because they haven't. There's still so much disarray. You know, there's nothing coming like normally around the time when you get to the what's it called? The penultimate show, you normally have some idea as to what, you know, you're going to be battling in the last, you know. And right now, like, what's Andor? I mean, he lost his mom. You know, he still can't find his sister. You know, I just don't see us being happy, or let me not say happy, satisfied with the conclusion.
This sounds like a trauma response, because you have been disappointed by Star Wars so much that now you're just like, there's no way that this can be as great as it's setting up to be. But maybe in a hopeful world, maybe this finale will be wonderful, and we'll be like, that. What a great first season, and I can't wait for season 2. Right. Maybe. You know, neither of us know, but I feel you, though, because
we know it's going to be a season 2. Man.
There will be a season 2. They're already, you know, they're going, you know, they're diving into that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say instead of being worried, you should be excited, because the fact that it is moving at the pace that it's moving means that we probably most likely will get more than 2 seasons. Which the way at the pace that they're moving, they wanted to start at the very beginning. And so starting at the very beginning means that we got so much stuff to show you guys that we don't want to rush this process at all. So we're gonna take as much time as we need to give you the right story the right way. And you have to applaud whoever's calling the shots, because that is exactly what you want as a viewer. Is not a rush story. Give it to me like and give it to me like I'm 2 years old and I don't know nothing. Feed me very slowly. That's what I want, especially with a show like this, because it is unfolding. We're slowly falling in love with these characters, and that's what you want. That's what you want in a show like this.
And lastly, in closing, I'll say that one thing that this show does that I don't think I've really seen in a Star Wars production is they are really trying to give a full. I mean, we've had Darth and we've had Finn, but we haven't really seen the inner workings of the Empire's infrastructure as far as it pertains to like the lower level agents and the security and what I'm saying, and how you get promoted. I mean, we saw bits and pieces of it in the first 3, in 4 through 6, but in this, I think I mean, even though we hate Skarsgård's character, we kind of are like empathetic a little bit when we see him like with his mom or whoever that lady is. I don't know, maybe not, but I'm just saying we haven't seen that type of thing.
No.
There's plenty more to discuss on this, man. I don't know if I got time for an after show or not, but we better go ahead and wrap this up. I do want to say that we did discuss Andor, we did discuss Black Panther 2 and a lot of these other things, but we haven't talked about Peripheral, which I think is actually killing it. Like these last couple episodes have been like this most recent episode. It's got me geeked up for next week. I'm gonna just say that we didn't get a chance to talk about Let the Right One In, and even I wanted to holler at Ty's been putting me onto this Warrior Nun thing, who Chris Evans's future wife is in or whatever, which I have some opinions on. It's not bad. It's a slow start. Just don't expect to like the first 2 episodes, I'll say. But after that, it
came out though on Netflix.
Say what?
Slumberland with
Oh yeah, Slumberland. Man. Yeah, Slumberland.
And there's a new movie out on Apple with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell.
It's a musical.
It's a musical?
It's a musical. Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds in a musical.
Yeah.
I love musicals. I'm down.
I'm down too. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and own it. Love that shit.
Hey.
Yes.
Well, that brings me to what I'm about to say here, bro. Which is, I'm glad Tyrone is being his natural self and his authentic self. Because if you ain't being yourself, you being fake, and ain't nobody got no time for that. And of course, in all things, like we said. But real quick, man, shout out to everybody that's watching. Make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you all tune in. Set your clocks next week. We will be right back here talking the same things. Stay in touch and share this with your friends. And like we always say, be your natural self authentically. If you ain't being your authentic self, you're being fake. Ain't nobody got no time for that. And in all things, if you a geek, go ahead and let that geek flag fly. See y'all next week. And tune in to the Twitch page for some games.
Fighter 2, I just really hate Zangief, only Ken and Ra 2. I find it hard to be Blanca, keep a wee ninja hanging and our uncle album banging. If you negative in energy, then stay out the vicinity. Yeah, them niggas so